Publishing Incorporated. Hello, my fabulous reading friends. It's Ani. Thank you for coming to read with me. If you want to stay up to date on my newest videos, make sure to subscribe and be sure to watch all the way through because I'm going to do some shout outs at the end. Are you ready for a Christmas story? Today we have one of my favorite classics illustrated by one of my favorite illustrators. It's called The Night Before Christmas. If you have a copy, go get it so you can read along with me. The Night Before Christmas by Clement C. Moore. Illustrated by Tommy DePaula. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that Nicholas soon done better. The children were nestled and snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plum danced in her head.
Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap.
And Mama in her thick dress, and I in my cap.
Had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap.
Had you settled our brains for a long winter nap.
When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter.
When out on the floor were a rush of clatters, I sprang from the bed to see what were the matter.
Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash.
Away to the windows I flew like a flash, and tore open the shutters and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below.
The moon on the breast of the fallen snow gave the touches on
when
midday.
What to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh in 8.
When what to my wondering eyes appears has a miniature
tiny reindeer with a little old driver so lively and quick,
with a little old drive to slightly and quick.
I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick.
I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick.
More rapid than eagles his courses they came.
More rapid than eagle his courses came.
And he whistled and shouted and called them by name.
And he whistled and called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen.
Now Dancer, now Pratters and Aces.
On Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen.
On Comets, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen.
To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash
to the top of the world.
Dash away all.
Now dash away all.
as dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly.
A dry leaf as before the wheels.
When they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky.
When they meet its objects, mount to the sky.
So up to the housetop the
out to the housetops
coursers they flew, with a
flew.
sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too.
With their sleeves, flew to an off toy and safe.
And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof,
and then to a twinkling I heard on the
the
roof.
prancing and pawing of each little hoof.
They practiced and pawing to each little hoof.
As I drew in my head and was turning around,
And I drew in my head and was turning
down the chimney St.
down the chimney.
Nicholas came with a bound.
Nicholas came with
He
a
was
bound.
dressed all in fur from his head to his foot.
He had printed dress or his foot
And his clothes were all tarnished with
from and his clothes were
ashes and soot.
harnesses with
A bundle of
asses,
toys he had flung on his back.
a flung of toys he had flung off his back,
And he looked like a peddler just opening his pack.
and he looked like a bed large just opening his back.
His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry.
His eyes, how they twinkle, his dim house merry.
His cheeks were like roses, his nose
teeth
like
were
a cherry.
Roses. His
His
nose
droll
were
little
cherries.
mouth was drawn up like a
Droll
bow,
little
and the
mouth.
beard of his
His droll little mouth was
chin was as white as the snow.
the
The
straws of the bow.
stump of his pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly.
The stumps on his bites he had tied in his teeth, and a small in cord his hair like his waist. He has a broad face and a little round belly. Was shook. The shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly.
He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf.
He was chubby and plump, a right holy old elf.
And I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself.
And the last once I saw him in spite of myself.
A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon
A wink of his eye and a trick of his hand
gave me to know I had nothing to dread.
soon have me to know I had no things of dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside of his nose,
He spoke on the word, but when strength to his words fill all the sparkings, he turned with a jack, and sailing his fingers as size of his nose,
and giving a nod up the chimney he rose.
and giving a nod up his trippy he knows.
He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him